Welcome to Wisdom Talk Radio, a collaborative community of explorers in conscious living. Welcome to today's episode of Wisdom Talk Radio. This is where we explore the depths of conscious living and how to live really an expanded life. Join us to be inspired, encouraged, transformed, and each time to tap into a deeper sense of joy and of possibility. I'm always drawn to collaborative efforts that bring together people from different perspectives, maybe around the same focus, but who see things really differently and who want to affect change. Healthcare is one arena where that unfortunately doesn't happen very often, or at least not often enough, but it needs to, and it can. And my guest today has been a pivotal force in addressing this need. So please stay tuned. You will be enlightened today. I'm Laurie Seymour, host of Wisdom Talk Radio and CEO and founder of the Baca Institute, home of the quantum connection process. You can go over to the Baca Institute to discover your unique connection with the essence of who you are by taking the quantum connection quiz. Why quantum connection? We're each designed to connect directly with source differently. And knowing your own archetype, your own style, opens a deeper connection with the universe. It's the secret to creating what you truly want in your life. At least it's one of the secrets. Because who you are is exactly who is needed. My guest today is Kathryn Hayward, MD. She is the medical director of Living Whole Immersion Retreats and Living Whole Online, a global community she co-founded. She started her 20-year career in primary care internal medicine at the Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School, gradually transitioning, I should say, to the practice of integrative whole health. She also founded the private practice Odyssey Journey and published Odyssey Family Systems Companion Guide, bringing together conventional medicine, movement of the whole body, whole plant-based food, and mind-body-spirit disciplines. Kathryn, welcome to Wisdom Talk Radio. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
As am I, Laurie. Thank you very much.
So I guess I should say, tell us where you are joining us from, because that in and of itself is something.
I'm joining you from Mallorca, Spain.
Yay. Ooh, is it sunny?
Oh, yes. Almost always.
I can say that about Denver, Colorado, where I am too, but it also snows.
Not too much snow here.
No. So what is it to be living whole? And what's your story, really? How did you come to this?
I came to this through my patients. As you mentioned, I was a primary care doctor at Massachusetts General Hospital. And prior to that, I was a medical resident learning to become a primary care doctor. And I had the good fortune to have patients tell me that they were doing things that I had not learned about in the conventional medicine system. And I got curious about what they were doing, asked for the names of their practitioners, made appointments with their practitioners, had sessions or interviewed their practitioners, and began to expand my horizons beyond what I had learned in medical school.
Can I just say for a moment how absolutely unique and unusual that is? Because I have been in this world for a very long time, and on all sides of things, you rarely hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm curious," or "Oh, isn't that nice?" which kind of dismissive. Or you really hear, and you don't have them be curious. And I love your curiosity, and that you not only were curious, but you followed that up. You did your own research. You said, "What's going on here? I don't know about this."
Yeah, that was happening in the 80s and early 90s.
Mhm.
Um, the conventional medicine system back then was very closed off to these, they were called back then in kind of dismissive and even disparaging tones, alternative and
Mhm.
complementary therapies, CAM therapies. And so as I began to have these experiences and develop a lot of respect for the practitioners that I was getting to know, I realized that I better stay in the closet at Mass General about this. I couldn't let my colleagues know that I was making these explorations. And when I would have patients who I thought might benefit from things I was learning, I would say to them behind the closed door of the office visit, please don't tell anyone that I gave you the name of this acupuncturist, this massage therapist, this herbalist, this homeopath. Please don't let anybody know that it was me.
Mhm.
We'll follow the conventional medicine workup of whatever your challenge is. And in parallel, you can try this and you can see, we can both see what happens.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that was how I had my first early years of experience. I stayed in my lane with the things that I had been trained for, and gave to them the permission, the
Mhm.
invitation to try something different. And then one of the beautiful things about being a primary care physician is you have the revisit and the longitudinal relationship.
Right.
So I could find out what happened and be learning along with them. And in addition, these practitioners were very interested in collaborating with me. So while I was, for instance, doing an MRI of a spine on someone with chronic back pain, and the person was getting chiropractic help, I would be talking to the chiropractor about what I was learning with my imaging studies,
Mhm.
and she would be sharing with me what she had found in her exam and what was happening in her treatments. So we learned together.
Wow. And were you discovering things that really surprised you? I mean, things that worked and you thought, well, how could this be?
Many. Um, there are some pretty dramatic stories. I
Hmm.
can tell you one if you would like.
Sure, please.
A young woman, 25-ish,
Hmm.
um, came to see me as her new primary care doctor. And this was at the time, you may remember that there was a time before primary care doctors were gatekeepers, where people had certain health insurances where they could just, if their foot hurt, they could
Mm.
see a foot doctor. If their knee hurt, they could see a knee doctor. They could self-refer.
Right.
And then the insurance industry uh, created these products where in order to see the foot doctor or the knee doctor, you had to go through your primary care doctor.
Hmm.
So I was beginning my career around that time that that transition was happening. And a lot of patients were not happy about that. They felt
Hmm.
like they were wasting their time. They had to sit in a primary care doctor's waiting room, waiting to be seen so that she could tell
Hmm.
them, yes, you can go see this referral. So I was always running at least an hour late because I was spending more time with patients than I was allotted. And this young woman came in with a pretty big angry attitude because I was delaying her day, understandably angry with me. And she told me that she just wanted me to give her a referral to one of my colleagues at Mass General who was a, uh, a gynecologic surgeon. And what the condition that she had was something called vulvodynia, which isn't a particularly well-known
Hmm.
condition. It's a condition of terrible pain in the vulva.
Hmm.
in the perineal area, the private parts of a woman.
Mhm.
And it can be so debilitating that you can't wear underwear, you can't put on a tampon, you can't wear a pair of jeans. It's really hard. You don't enjoy sexual relations. And she had been told by my colleague that the only remedy was to cut her pelvic nerves.
Mm.
And so I was faced with this angry woman who just wanted me to sign a form. And, and I said, I'm happy to sign your form, but would you like me to find out if acupuncture might be able to help your condition?
Mhm.
And she sort of begrudgingly said, sure, you can find out if you want. And I went to another room, called my acupuncture colleague, and the person said, oh, yeah, please send her. I still have her letter. It took 2 treatments.
Oh my goodness.
And she never had to have her pelvic nerves cut.
Oh.
So that was one that, I didn't know if vulvodynia could be treated by acupuncture, but
Mhm.
what I went on to learn was that many people with that have a history of sexual abuse, and they have, perhaps repressed memories and other things that energy practices like acupuncture. There are
Mhm.
many energy practices. Acupuncture is one of them, one of the more well-known ones,
Yeah.
can actually help move those energy blockages and clear up the pain syndrome.
Mhm. Wow. That's a great story. I mean, that's it's powerful and it's potent, and I'm feeling that. The because I have been through different situations in my life where I had okay, here's the traditional treatment, and because I at least knew other practitioners and knew that there were other possibilities, I went different directions. And yet I know that there's a synergy that can happen. I have a dear friend that has gone through a major cancer situation, and really didn't got totally turned off to Western medicine around it and what was being given to her. Went through all these other alternatives slash complementary, whatever, all these other ways of treating the whole system. And then finally had to bring back in, from a perhaps slightly different perspective, some of the Western medicine pieces in order to affect the kind of change that was needed. So,
Well,
yeah.
the definition that we have of integrative whole health that you mentioned at the beginning is that we bring together the best in conventional medicine education, whole plant-based food,
Mhm.
movement of the body, and what we call mind, body, spirit disciplines, which include energy practices and coherent family connections, and the creative pursuits that lift our hearts and help us heal: art, music,
Mhm.
writing, photography, filmmaking, basically anything that allows us to move our creativity.
Yes.
So for us, it's very important to include all of that in an integrative whole health approach. It would be, I think, malpractice to not take into consideration the benefits that the conventional medicine system offers.
Mhm.
The where I think we've gotten out of balance in our recent decades in terms of how we regard the conventional medicine system is that we regard it as the only place, oftentimes.
Yes. Yeah.
And especially with chronic disease, it is definitely not the only place.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, most of the practice of a primary care doctor like me was made up of people with chronic disease.
Mhm. Mhm.
Usually has something to do with lifestyle. It usually has something to do with their emotions and how they regard the world, their beliefs. And if you don't take a holistic approach, you miss out on things that can relieve suffering.
Yeah. And then things don't necessarily change, or there's greater suffering because of some of the conventional medical ways of treating something that could perhaps be alleviated in a different way. And I know I'm so glad that you do bring in the creative aspects. Um, as an energy person myself, and I teach Turiya meditation, I teach Turiya touch, and they're very much have that focus around how do you express your creative potential? You know, how do you use your creative intelligence in your life? And not so much as a how to, but more as a these ways of being, these ways of working can help open that up. And then you've got your own energy system that is expressing itself in the way it needs to, rather than being blocked up.
Yeah. Well, if you look at little kids, and I know you've got a couple of little ones in your life, um, when little kids are allowed to be themselves,
Mhm.
they're very creative,
Yes.
very creative.
Mhm.
So that can say to us, that's innate in our nature. And if we
Mm.
get to a place in our adult lives where we're not being creative anymore,
Mhm.
it it's useful to do two things. One is look back and say, I know I used to be, and so where did I lose that thread?
Mhm.
And the other is, how can I bring that into my life now, even if I've spent some years not creating?
Mhm.
How can I bring that into my life now? Because creativity moves energy, and you know this as well as anyone because of being an energy practitioner.
Mhm.
It moves energy in a way that allows us to move forward in our lives, and it usually is associated with pain relief and stress relief and less depression, less anxiety, better sleep,
Mhm.
uh, better habits in general.
Yeah. And maybe even coming up with something brand new to offer to the world. Maybe, maybe. So you offer these two things, the Living Whole Immersion retreats and Living Whole Online. I'd love for you to talk to both of those things because they're two different ways of working, but
Yes.
not but, and your online community is really quite something.
The online community is an outgrowth of the immersion retreats. We were doing immersion retreats until the pandemic.
Mm,
And when the pandemic came, we did some thinking about, well, how can we continue to serve when we're all in lockdown?
mhm,
So
mhm,
it was a new genre for me. I much prefer to be in person with people. So and I'm not tech savvy particularly. So it's been a steep learning curve. Uh, and it has been helped by uh, my my connecting with facilitators from all over the world
mhm,
who have been contributing programs and content to the site.
mhm.
So what started out as sort of my attitude was, well, this is a compromise. This is how we'll get through the pandemic, and then
Right,
we'll start
right.
up the immersions again. I'm actually preferring the online approach for certain reasons. One is it's way more affordable.
Mhm,
To do an immersion costs a few $1,000s for
okay.
the tuition and also trying to get there and transportation and so forth.
Mhm,
So it's much more affordable for many more people.
mhm,
And it's also much more global. I have facilitators from all over, and we're building our facilitator group all the time. So if anybody's listening and wants to connect with me about exploring whether being a facilitator would be of interest, please do. And so, in an immersion retreat, I might have 5 or 6 specialists,
mhm,
In this, we have at the moment over 40, and we're
Wow.
moving to many more. And we have many more courses, of course,
Hmm.
than
Hmm.
days.
Do
The
you
beauty,
find that, because I do love collaboration, as I said in the beginning, but even within, okay, we've got these different types of approaches, do you find that people are drawn to, hey, let's see what we could create together? I mean, people that offer different kinds of processes or ways of
yeah,
working?
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Um, One example is this coming Saturday, we're flying to United States on Wednesday, and on Saturday I'm giving a talk at a conference called the Aging Life Conference, I think.
something like that.
And and they and I'm doing a talk called The Importance of Being an Elder.
Hmm.
The idea is if you self-identify as an elder as you're aging,
Hmm.
that's different from self-identifying as elderly as you're
Yes,
aging.
indeed.
And I'm doing it with one of the Living Whole Online facilitators who's a musician. He was actually a pretty famous kids music physician when my kids were little. My kids
Mhm.
are in their 40s. But when they were little, he was part of a duo called Rosenschanz.
Oh,
And they were
yes, yes.
super popular, filling up Boston Common with little kids with teddy bears. And so is on his own now, Bill Shantz. And so he and I are going to collaborate in this presentation on Saturday, where we're going to use the energy of music to make some points for people about ways that they may want to choose to take the elder path, the action path,
Ooh,
as opposed to the elderly path.
wow.
That's one example, but it happens a lot with the facilitator group. People
Mhm.
love knowing each other. It's one of the fun things about being a facilitator and
Mhm,
living.
mhm. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And you just said something about action. And something I noticed on your website that spoke to me very much was you said something about um, the importance of collective conscious action. And it was, yes. Can you speak to that from what that means to you?
It's I think particularly poignant right now to be talking about this because it's also happening at the national level.
Mhm.
How do we come together
Yeah.
and be in a conscious collective energy force
Mhm.
because we are concerned
Mhm.
about things that are going on in our culture, in our country. And it's also happening globally. A lot of people are looking at what's happening in the United States. A lot of people here in Europe are looking at what's
Very
happening in the
much.
United States, and they're
Mhm.
very concerned. And so we hear people talking about, well, you can get at it through the legislative branch, you can get at it through the judiciary, and you really have to get at it through the most powerful part of the democratic system, which
Mhm.
is the citizens' voices. When it comes to healthcare, or any area of life where we feel that things need to improve,
Mhm.
um, bringing people together who have a particular view of how to move forward in a humane way, in a thoughtful way, in a generous way, in a grateful way, in a way that has a lot of grace associated with it.
Mhm.
If you bring people together who think like that and they look at a system that is lacking those things or needs some tweaks in those areas,
Mhm.
you're very likely to be able to make some change.
Mhm. Mm. And with making that kind of change, do you see that there's also an importance for one's own health care, for one's own healthy life, to make that kind of conscious action, to not be passive? It doesn't have to be going out and marching in the streets. I don't really mean that, but just to see what is the conscious action that I need to take in my life.
I love that question, Laurie. It's it always has to start with us as individuals. Um, they have that old adage that's often spoken about where when you're on an airplane and the oxygen things come down, you put it on yourself before you put it on the other person.
Mhm.
And as much as that may be overspoken these days, I think it has an important message to give to us. And so, especially when we're talking about health, we are served best by looking at our own health first.
Mhm.
And how do I feed myself? How do I move my body? How do I take care of my stress? How do I take care of things that are chronically concerning me? How do I take care of my relationships? How do I take care of my relationship with me?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
those 4 or 5 questions, if you sit and you ask yourself those questions, maybe write down some thoughts, and then see where you might want to engage someone else to help you with that, to coach you, to give you therapy or whatever you may need. Um, from there, then you have kind of a full cup, and the overflow can be shared with others.
Yeah. 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 And that, that's the hero's journey too, is, you do go through your own changes and your own battles and your own learnings, and then you bring back to the world. Once you've come through, you've found the grail, and you have something to offer to the world. And it seems so important to do that. Not everybody's is around getting up and speaking or teaching or whatever. It may be how you quietly move around the world with that inner knowing. And then you carry a certain energy and light that impacts others. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's also really important to you that you want to promote whole health globally.
Yes.
There you are living in Spain, you're from the US. Uh, how did you come to that? What's that about for you?
Um, I think ever since I was pretty little, I've had a global view of things. I don't really know why, because I didn't travel anywhere till I was an adult. But but I've always been interested in how people in other cultures think about things and struggle or wrestle with the same uh, challenges in life.
Mhm,
An example is the IT team that we have putting Living Whole Online into its form is in India.
mhm,
They there are 10 people that work on Living Whole Online to make it be what it is.
mhm.
And they've never met each other. They're scattered all over India. And what they've brought to me in the past 3 years in terms of this project has been, I can't even express how valuable it has been.
Wow.
And these are people that, for the most part, don't speak English as a first language. They don't speak English, many of them at all. When we have Zoom calls, we're doing it in 3 languages
Oh
because
my
they don't know
goodness.
the other side. But their cultural perspective
Mhm,
is so different from that of many people in the US and in Europe. And it has just added a richness to the experience of creating Living Whole. So, there's that. I live in
mhm,
Spain. Spain has a pretty different attitude about work-home balance
mm, mm, mhm,
than we have in the United States, certainly that I had when I was, raising kids and working as a doctor. And I I think it's like learning languages. You know, there are things that you can say in particular languages that you can't say in other languages.
Mm-hmm.
There's an example in Spanish that I really love, which is when people are getting married, they talk about an enlace. And an enlace means coming together. But to me, when I look at the word ENLACE, it looks like enlace.
Ooh,
Just
yes.
it's so poetic. So there's a there's an aspect of this that's poetic, it's magical, it transcends
Mm-hmm.
any growing up in any particular culture.
Yeah. And yet it sounds like your focus is one that embraces the whole. When you talk, you use the term living whole. And so one of the things I would love to have you speak to is because we have so many challenges. I mean, I guess we always have, that's part of why we're here. We get to, deal with whatever the challenges are and come through to the other side. But how do you think living whole helps us with the kinds of challenges that we have to face today?
It starts with living whole here
Hmm.
in the individual,
Hmm.
and then it moves to the most important intimate relationships, and then it moves another layer out to the
Uh-huh.
community, and then another layer out to the globe. And so these concentric circles, if you think of yourself as kind of moving among the concentric circles,
Hmm.
there are times when you need to be very focused inwardly or on your intimate circle, and
Hmm.
there are times when you have the energy to think more globally.
Hmm.
One of the um, best examples, most poignant examples I have for that is what we choose to eat.
Hmm.
And part of the reason that we ask people to consider moving to whole food plant-based
Hmm.
and getting processed foods and animal products out of their diets is because there's decades of research that shows that eating that way not only helps the health of the individual, but helps the health of the planet, and of course helps the health of animals who aren't
Hmm.
slaughtered for their bodies anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so you have this very expanded way just by doing one thing, which is changing how you eat.
And it's a pretty profound thing to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So we are we are alive at this particular moment in history. And I wonder how you would look at, or how you do look at the kind of learning and growth opportunities that we have. I mean, beyond what you've shared already, there are, yes, if we move to um, eating a whole food, plant-based diet, you just spoke to all the different ways that impacts different things. Um, we're alive at a particular moment in time. And I've been talking to a lot of people about this of why are we here? Why are we here now? And what is it that we have to claim as our mission, as our possibility, as our learning in this time?
We're here now because we have an opportunity
Mhm.
to move life on the planet in a direction of health and healing or in a direction of destruction. We're at a crossroads right now. I, of course, and you too, are hoping we'll go in the healing and health direction.
Mhm.
But I mean, this is a planet of free will. People get to choose their path.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of times we choose out of our injuries that have not yet been healed.
Mhm.
So when I get to meet somebody like you, have the privilege of meeting somebody like you who's dedicating your life to helping people see where the healing could go, where the injuries are and where the healing could go, it always makes my heart grow really big and I feel really happy because the more points of light like you are on the planet, the more chance we have that we can go in that direction of health and healing.
And to me, you're talking about health and healing, of course. You know, you're an MD. It's been your life. um, and I think about it in terms of consciousness. It's not that they're separate at all. It's that I guess that's just the way I talk about it. Um, and about creativity, that the more we become within ourselves that conscious being, you know, knowing that we're part of this whole, knowing that you're not separate really from me, you're different, and wow, we can celebrate that. But then there's also beyond the uniqueness, there's also a oneness. And in coming together in that way, we bring such um, potency and possibility. Yeah. So I'm so happy to know what you're doing and what you're up to. And now, are you doing retreats anymore?
We're not doing living whole immersions right now. We're putting all of our effort into creating the online program.
Hmm.
Uh, David and I, my husband and I, are doing a retreat in May in the Dominican Republic for the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies. It's
Hmm.
a 1 week retreat for people that are moving from omnivore to whole food plant-based,
Mm.
there to help look at the whole picture.
Hmm.
Uh, when most of the retreat will be focused on how to move their food. So when people invite us to be guests or facilitators in retreats, we're happy to do that.
But you're not wanting to right now at least tackle the all the logistics and everything else of running your own immersion.
Yeah, I mean, we do private immersions here
Hmm.
in Mallorca for people that want something that's very private, very
Hmm.
exclusive,
Hmm.
focused just on one individual or maybe two or three people or a family.
Hmm.
We'll do that
Yeah.
for people at the moment. But the big ones, we're taking a little break.
Yeah. I know, I understand having, I think I shared with you that I was in Spain last year, right at this time, actually, right literally at this time, at least as we're recording this, um, running a retreat. And, you know, and it's particularly a big deal to do that, you know, in a different country
Yes.
and to bring together the people and the staff and the wonderful foods and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big undertaking.
it's a big undertaking. So, as you think about what's next for Living Whole Online, I know this has been a big undertaking, and I'm sure you have a vision about where you want to see this go. What does that look like?
I would like it to be regarded by people as uh, the most important place for getting a holistic health and healing look at their lives. Um, that's where I would like us to go.
Okay, that's wonderful. I just want to ask you one more question about somebody comes onto your site. How do they begin? What do they, okay, they, I don't know if mostly people come in because there's a situation that they're facing, a health crisis they're facing. But how do they, I think about that online and people say, well, wait a minute, no, I need more hand holding. How do
Uh,
you provide that, even though it is online?
You're right that many people come because they have a particular health challenge that they're looking for help with. There also are people that come because they feel like their life is going quite well and they would like to keep it that way.
Hmm.
They would
Hmm. Yes.
to keep on the conscious journey and keep moving forward. And so we offer services in two different ways. One is pre-recorded online programs.
Mhm.
Some of them are focused on particular symptoms, and some are focused on particular programs that are of interest. And then we also have what we call live with facilitator programs. Once a month, we have a live free webinar called Sunday TLC. The T is for tapas, and also in English for TLC, tender loving care. In Spain, tapas are small plates of food. And our image is that everybody's got a plate that's too full these days, and they would appreciate having an opportunity to unload their plate onto smaller plates and deal with the smaller plates. So our programs are called Tapas for Life courses, TLCs, if they are focused on symptoms. So, for instance, if you want to know a holistic approach to your cold, or a holistic approach to your back pain, or to your bowel concerns, or to your sleep disturbances, we have really wonderful programs for all of that. Then we have tapas a la carte, which are organized according to conventional medicine, whole plant-based food, movement of the body, and mind, body, spirit disciplines with those 5 breakouts. So if you want to learn how to make a river table, we've got beautiful videos about that. If you want to know about the East Coast Greenway, which is a non-motorized path from the Canadian border to the tip of Florida, we've got programs on that. If you want to know how to do Qigong, we've got programs on that. Jin Shinjitsu, we've got programs on that. So that's all in the Tapas a la carte. And then we have certain of those facilitators who are willing to meet with you either individually or in a small group to focus on particular themes.
Wow. Okay. So there's quite a quite a rich offering there.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
curious, and I'm sure you get this question often, are people able to connect with you to say, okay, Kathryn, I want to work with you.
Yes,
Can I do that?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
people can work with me, and there are a number of facilitators who offer what we call private educational sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the variety of that and the way that people can come into it and try out different things is what it
Yeah.
sounds like too. Yeah.
Mhm.
How can you tell people, what's the URL? How do people find you?
livingwholeonline.com.
You don't even have to spell that. When I do the Baca Institute, I usually have to say it's BACA. And I didn't think about that when I named it.
From the website, you can write me an email. You can do many things.
Great, great. That's really helpful to know. Kathryn, thank you for your generosity to share with our audience all of what you're doing, and I'm just so appreciative that you're here in the world.
Oh, well, Laurie, it is mutual admiration going on here. I'm so appreciative of your work,
Thank
and
you.
it's wonderful to meet you.
It is. I'm very glad we've had this opportunity, um, and I know I'll get back to Spain. I'm hoping I'll meet you.
Oh, for sure. Make sure you come to Mallorca when you do.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you for and to our listening audience. We would not be here without you. Thank you for joining us here today at Wisdom Talk Radio. And remember, you can join us here regularly for more of this wisdom, discovery, and illumination. You can find us on all the different places to listen to podcasts. Whatever platform you use, you'll find us. And It would be wonderful if you've enjoyed this today and you know somebody who needs to hear this message. Send this to them, forward the link so that they can, for themselves, find out this kind of information and these kinds of ways to live an expanded life. And also, if you've enjoyed it, leave us a review, because that also helps more people discover what is possible in the world. And for yourself, if you want more for yourself and um, your own sense of possibility, check out the BacaInstitute.com, where you can take the Quantum Connection quiz today. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us here at Wisdom Talk Radio. We wish you well in your conscious explorations. For more information and to join in the conversation, our website is wisdomtalkradio.com or at Wisdom Talk Radio on Facebook.